my god, it's fire. It's a perfect combination.
You didn't put bananas on there?
Oh, no, put them. If this isn't fire, I don't know. And it's the right amount now. Wait.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome to episode 2 of Cafecito Vibes.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is Melissa from Carlos. Anyways, we're here at, how do you pronounce it again?
Oh, we just found this out.
Halcyon
Halcyon.
on Lower Greenville in Dallas.
I would call it, yeah, but it's called Halcyon.
So anyway, we got some avocado French toast, blueberry banana pancakes, working bomb. I also got it's like chicken and waffles, pretty good. I'll show footage of it later on in the video, or post it here, but that's what I'm having. I'm drinking a chai latte today, and Melissa's having...
matcha. I was supposed to get an ice, but they gave me hot, but it's pretty good. A matcha latte.
So, a hot matcha latte, she's having a day. Oh, and I'm having some water.
That water is gone.
Rehydrate. Anyways, so what do you like about Halcyon?
It's big, it's spacious. There's a lot of natural light. It's a very New York vibe-ish.
So it's just a New York vibe?
Yeah, but it's nice, and the food is amazing. They have really good options.
They do. I didn't know what to get. I knew I was gonna share something with her, so I went with the pancakes. Or we went with the pancakes, so you can see the drip.
Blueberry pancakes, they're good.
So, but anyways, so obviously, like we said, we're trying to find topics that I guess we can both talk about. I guess that we quote unquote have in common, or we don't have in common to a degree, I guess. But today's topic is going to be psychedelics. So I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to spell it, but I will Google it. But once again, psychedelics like mushrooms, LSD. Oh, you want me to spell it? Okay, so it's PSYHCAVELICS. So, I guess a couple of the major ones that are out there would be obviously the top two that I think everybody knows is LSD and mushrooms. But there's also DMT, mescaline, peyote cactus, and also the ayahuasca plant. And I'm sure there's a couple other ones that I'm missing, but those are, I guess, the top psychedelics out there. So I'm gonna stick with those. But like even the main ingredient in mushrooms is psilocybin, so that's one of the main psychoactive ingredients, I guess, in that. So I'm just gonna go back and give you a little bit of history, I guess, you know, which actually there's been a couple of videos that I've been watching when I did my research on this, and some people claim that, you know, a lot of religious people or prophets, stuff like that, were on psychedelics when they were talking about their religious or what they saw in the afterlife or whatever. But so they've been back in the day. They've even found, I believe it was in the pyramids, actual bowls with psilocybin or LSD residue in them, so obviously they were on something. So, but in 1938, Albert Hoffman discovered or created. He was a chemist. He created LSD, and on accident went back, touched it, and then that's when he started tripping. I guess so. That was the first recorded, I guess, trip, quote unquote. But then in the 1930s, they were banning and criminalizing psychedelics, and it started with Harry Eislinger, which he was head of, I guess, like the narcotics department or whatnot. So another couple other things that, you know, so certain things that it helps with in research would be with PTSD, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and addiction. And that's just a very few things that there has been research on, which actually, once again, going through my research, if you go to Johns Hopkins University, they have research and development there in regards to psychedelics. They've gotten over 17 million in funding, private, I'm sure, in regards to psychedelics. So that's just kind of a rundown of what the research, very minor research that I've done in regards to psychedelics. Is there anything that you would like to add to anything about psychedelics? Aside from just about research or anything that you've looked up, any research that you've come across?
Yeah, well, a lot of the research has been... Okay, so a lot of the research that I feel like I study them a lot, or when it's done, I think it helps you... Wait, are we going to go straight into the topic or no? Let's go, okay.
You want facts right now.
Oh, just, I mean, pretty much how it's helped a lot of people with trauma, past trauma, pretty much what it's done. People that have been addicts or on addiction. But there's a lot of information. But I guess we'll get more into it. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I think there's a deeper meaning to it.
So one of the things in regards to research and how it works, it pretty much disrupts the neural activity by diffusing the brain, and it activates the serotonin receptor, which is the 5-HT2A. That's the serotonin receptor. So pretty much what, I mean, once again, there's very little research because it has been criminalized, but the research that they've been doing, they've shown to pretty much block off, well, that, but there was, I'd have to go back and look, but pretty much there was research done, and what they found was that it stops the receptors in a certain part of the brain that kind of, I guess, once you're going in this trip, you're...
I guess more of a trend.
Well, that, yeah, but it's still a trip because you're still going in there. Well, but the main thing is that what the research shows is that there's certain parts of your brain that aren't communicating, and once this one central part of your brain stops communicating, the other parts of your brain start communicating, and that's where you start having these trips. That's where you're able to see different colors or hear different colors or smell different things.
Your senses get heightened.
Yeah, your senses, and that's because of that certain part of your brain that is
being activated.
Yeah. So,
we could say, okay, let's invest into...
Anyways, obviously the avocado toast is good from what you're saying, but so yeah, that's kind of pretty much how it does. And now another thing too that I'd like to add, there's certain people that microdose, and there's obviously other times that, you know,
throughout the day.
Yeah, throughout the day. But there's also when you go on a trip or when you take a trip, you know, LSD, it's a longer trip because it is a synthetically made psychedelic, but some people, I mean, I don't know the full research on it, but it is a synthetic psychedelic, like I said. So, anyways, when you go on this trip,
ayahuasca's not synthetic.
no, I know, the ayahuasca's not synthetic, peyote's not synthetic, mushrooms not synthetic. The only one that is LSD, which is created in a lab, is what I mean when I say synthetic. But anyways, so you can either microdose daily or cook certain times a week, whatever works for you. But that's pretty much what they're doing in Johns Hopkins and all these other research facilities, microdosing, because obviously
it's enhanced like your mental awareness, focus. It does. That's what a lot of the studies have shown, how much it's enhanced people's awareness. It's not so much scattering in the brain when they do the brain scans. So it does show where it's still pretty active, because I think you're in a trance state mode. You go into a trance state of mind, so it means that it's almost like an out of body experience.
To a degree, I would say.
To a degree, but with that, it's not such a. I think people have a misconception about psychedelics, and me too. Growing up, I used to think, oh, you're gonna jump out of a window. That's all I ever assumed, because that's what we were taught in school. And so my brother, he was like, no, it has nothing to do with that. And wait, are we going?
Go. You're already going.
So okay, so pretty much, because he's actually the one that introduced me, and I would always tell him, like, I don't know, are you gonna jump out of a window? Like, I would think the most extreme stuff. And then he told me to watch a couple movies. A lot of the movies, they all kind of have one thing in common. It was like it was a scary thing at the beginning, but towards the end, it would, they would talk about how much laughter, joy, happiness, love. It just, a lot of the more high frequency feelings. But at the time, I didn't really understand it that much. I didn't really understand the point. I just knew there was more of from what I knew about mushrooms and ayahuasca, I didn't know too much about LSD, but from what I knew about it was that it was a sacred type of plant, and it was considered medicine, or it was known to heal people, to help people with past trauma, help people with whatever. Like, I still didn't know too much about it, and the more and more I would research it, the more I wanted to do it. So I reached out to my brother. Would always tell me, you should try it. Like, you pretty much see what we're not, I guess what our mind cannot comprehend to see. So, you get a lot of different feelings of peace, blissfulness, love. A lot of people say you connect with God, or you become one with Earth, pretty much. Not that you become, because you already are, but you're not fully aware of it yet. And that's kind of what psychedelics, psilocybin, mushrooms, that's kind of what it does. It brings you to an awareness of a better understanding of what we're really living in, and with that naturally comes you getting rid of anxiety, depression. I've never really been depressed, to be honest. I don't really know what it feels like, but I could have been. I just didn't know that's what it was. Or actually, maybe, like, for a little bit. It was only if I was jobless. That's when I would really get, sad. But other than that, no. I've always tried to keep a positive state of mind. But, there's times where you get in situations where you really don't have a way out, or you really don't understand, and you want to understand. And I think that's kind of what
Psychedelics
does. It helps you understand and be more accepting of who you are, where you're at, and extending that this isn't it. Like, you're in a journey. We're all in a journey. There's nowhere to be. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're just trying to get to a level of peace, happiness, calm, and really not be so chaotic, because you can't change what's around you. The world is still gonna be the world. Like, it's still gonna be happening no matter what you're going through. So it almost helps you. It's like a mechanism. No, it almost helps you feel more grounded in a world that you really can't change what's going on. You can change, but in some sense, you still have to focus on yourself.
You can only control what you can't control.
Yeah.
That's what it helps you. It allows you to accept what is. Well, which we did talk about this earlier, though. We have to give a disclaimer.
Oh yeah.
We are not responsible for anything that happens when you're tripping. And I mean, we're no doctors. We're not rocket scientists.
We're just speaking out of our own
We're giving you our experiences in regards to psychedelics. So
how it's helped us.
Exactly. So obviously, do it with caution. Me personally, when I have done it, I set a mood, I fast. I make sure that that's the only thing that I'm ingesting. I make sure that, I have the settings right, and that I have people around me or people that I can call in regards to me having a bad trip. And a bad trip is not bad in regards to it's bad while you're going through it, but
But you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
I think that's what most people are afraid of.
Exactly.
You're not gonna die. Well,
I mean,
make sure you're getting it from a safe.
But if you're unsupervised, that's when things get, kind of rocky, because it's not for everybody. So if you can't handle it mentally to a certain degree, then that's where it kind of becomes dangerous, because you are in a state of
fear, panic.
Not that, yes, but I'm meaning in regards to you shouldn't be driving a car.
Oh yeah.
Because your motor functions are out the window.
Don't do the obvious.
Yeah, I mean, just have a good setting and people around you that have done it before, that understand what you are about to go on, because it literally is a trip in your mind. But
it's what, like
it varies in regards to what you take, but yeah, so just be safe. So that's the main disclaimer that we'd like to put out there, because obviously, we don't want it to we're here talking about it because we feel that it has helped us in a certain way, so, but at the same time, if you're not safe, then, that's when things can get a little tough, but once again, that's up to you and what you do, so, but anyways, I do have a couple questions here, which obviously I'm going to ask my sister, and I'm going to answer some as well, but well, let's start off with, so when was your first trip like, and when was it, where was it, what was it like?
Okay. Wait, let me take a sip. So my first trip was actually, my first journey, I like to call it journey. Whatever, you can call it whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. It was actually in my mom's house. My brother was there with me, but for the longest, I was drawn to plant medicine, ayahuasca, mushrooms. Mushrooms was just one of the ones that was more accessible. Ayahuasca, I've always heard that you just have to, or at least I wanted to experience a more profound setting. But basically, so I would keep asking, my brother's the one that brought it up to me. I think he had already had a couple mushroom trips or ceremonies, and he kind of explained to me a little bit about how it helped him, what it's helped him realize, what he saw. And the more and more he explained it to me, it pushed me to want to try it. So I said, okay. And then eventually, I was like, hey, I really want to try this out. He was like, okay, but I kept telling him my biggest fear was that I was gonna jump out of a window. I don't know, but everyone kept saying that. Like growing up, that's what we were taught in school. That you're gonna jump out of a window, or you tried LSD, or stupid things like that. But you know, it could have happened to some people because again, we go back to that. You need to feel safe, but that's not what's gonna happen. Again, I don't really know too much about what happened at that time, but I said, hey, just be there. Just be somewhere in the house. I'll be in the room alone. But as long as I know that he was there, I felt safe because I knew if anything, he could just help me out. But it was perfectly fine. I over exaggerated. It really was not that big of a deal. So it really wasn't. It really is not. But still, I just wanted to be extra safe, just like you guys should be when you first try it. So yes, I pretty much he told me, you know, get away from your phone, you know, just get a good setting, pick some good music that you like. So I put on Cascade at the time. You know, I still love Cascade. He, you know, makes me feel very at peace, very safe. And yeah, sure enough, I took it. Did I smoke a little bit? I think I did. I think I smoked a little bit. He said to smoke a little bit because as soon as I ate the mushrooms, by the way, they're disgusting. They don't taste good.
It tastes like shit.
Yeah, they taste bad. But again, I think when you try this, go into it with an intention. You're not doing this just to get high. That's stupid. I don't know. Whatever. But do it with an intention. Like, what are you trying to get out of it? Why are you really doing it? Like, be doing it for a reason, not just to do it. Now, if you want to try, I mean, whatever. So anyways, I really just wanted to figure out. I felt stuck. I felt stuck in life. Like, I just felt a little lost. I wasn't sure which way to go. I wasn't sure what was the right way to go. I think that's what a lot of us live in, is that you're trying to do the right thing, but there really isn't a right thing. So anyways, I did that. I was really trying to find myself and figure out, you know, where was I going with this. And yeah, sure enough, I tried it maybe 45 minutes into an hour. Keep in mind, I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking because I'm so nervous. I'm like, what is about to happen? And as soon as I take it, as soon as I think it finally is kicking in, I'm like, oh shoot. Like, I just, you know,
I'm tripping.
Yeah, pretty much. You're like, oh my gosh, here we go. Like, that's what I felt. I was like, oh, and it feels like you're literally on a roller coaster. So what I did, I just laid down in bed. I was just laying in bed. I didn't want to, you know, just listening to music. And next thing you know, I'm going to this, like, I kept my eyes closed the whole time. And while I'm listening to the music, I could hear everything. It's almost like I was living in there. But I think I saw a lot of Care Bears, like a lot of little, I don't know if they were my brain cells, but they were these people. They were just so caring, so nurturing. And you pretty much have a big crying session. I don't know. I had a big crying session.
I mean, it varies.
It varies. You go into different cycles, from what I understand now. And
but that's why it's a trip, because you're, like you said, it's a roller coaster ride.
It's a roller coaster ride.
You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, but at the end of the ride or trip, I think you're aware of whatever you were going through, or you're literally at the moment, or in your life in general. And I think that's what really helps a lot, is that you are going through a quote-unquote trip, but at the end of the trip, you accept what is. And I think that's why also psychedelics are also called the ego busters, because they break down your ego to where you accept you for you. So
I guess it's a humbling experience. You have I think it's like a humbling experience, because it makes you. So keep in mind, we all have stuff going on. Whether you like it or not, you do. There's something that you're trying to figure out. You may not speak on it. You may not tell anyone about it. Things you keep to yourself, and that's kind of what psychedelics is going to help you do. It's going to bring what you're hiding, bring it to life, to where you can see it or feel it, and kind of make some sort of peace with it, where you're like, okay, well, this and this happened. You know, you kind of learn to let go of it. To when you come back, you know, once you wake up out of this trip or whatever, you somewhat in some sense, you don't get all the answers on one. You know, it's a journey. You sometimes have to take several. But you get a little more clarity into what's really, you know, just get a little more clarity about your situation, where you're at, where you stand. You understand a little bit more. And sometimes, you know, you may see some real deep, profound things that then you may not need anymore for it. And that's
well, glad to hear about that. But so now the next question is, what do you like about psychedelics?
I think that would, you know, I feel like it helps. It's one thing I do really like about it is the fact that it really can help people. It really can help people that are really going through things. And I would rather people turn to that than medicine that's really not. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, but just by, you know, seeing people that overdose on medicine and things, or people are prescribing little kids certain medicine for ADHD, for being hyper, all kinds of stuff, or depression. It's like, then I'd rather encourage people to look into researching psychedelics and look into doing it somewhere safe and just see what it can really do for you. But I think that's what I really like about them, is that it is kind of like a magic pill that can somewhat cure you in some sense of things that you may not even know.
Oh, I will say that it also helps to be in some type of therapy as well. I know that my sister went to a retreat, and I'm sure that helped out a little bit. But I think as long as, because it opens you up to a lot of things that you were aware of, but
you've never been exposed to.
Yeah, and that's where you start to kind of accept you for you, and that's what I like about psychedelics, is that you're able to look inward.
Yep.
In regards to, instead of outward, because once you look inward, then you accept you accept your circumstances, you accept everything, whether it's good or bad. And that's what I like, because it's, like you said, it helps people the natural way. Because if you research this, aside from LSD that was chemically made, ayahuasca, peyote, mushrooms and all that all grows from the ground. It's not like somebody went and, but even then, if you want to quote unquote throw God into it,
your ancestors.
That's why they were there. They were there to help. They were there to
heal.
Yeah, I mean, just a number of things. Obviously, in moderation, because yes, there is dangers to it. But once again, even when you go to retreats or to certain
in a safe environment.
Yeah, when you're in a safe environment, like, that's what's good, So, but I mean, I like the same thing that it helps. It does help people in the right setting, once again. So it's not about, let's go get high. Like, yeah, that's fine if you want to do that too, but
that's not really the point of this.
Yeah, that's not what we're trying to come across with. We're trying to give you the upside to psychedelics as a helpful tool to help you as a person. So that's this. I think that's, like, I agree with my sister. It's more of the way that it helps people around, just overall,
mentally.
Yeah, I mean,
emotionally,
all of the above. It's a trickle-down effect. If it starts with one, you start to see other things about you that you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should work on that, or maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that.
Brings you awareness, pretty much. Really self-awareness. That if you want to talk about awareness. So, but anyways, and keep in mind also when you're in these transcendental modes or these trance state of mind, it's almost the same as to when you're meditation, when you're doing meditating, when you're in the deep meditation. Now we're talking about real yogis and shamans that meditate for hours. This is what they access. This is the same type of state of mind that they access, is this trance state of mind. And obviously if something correlates and is somewhat combined, a lot of people that do believe in psychedelics, they also practice yoga, meditation, all that, because it all correlates. It all exists for a reason.
Well, I think it's because you're, once again, like I said, you're
wanting
looking
to
in.
You're looking in, yeah.
You're looking inward. So when you meditate, it's the same thing. You're looking inward to yourself. I mean, well, really to try to get yourself into nothingness. And that's where you're able to function. Yeah, like you said, detach away from quote. All right, guys. So I'm over here editing the video, and I don't know what happened, but we had some technical difficulties and we lost some of the footage towards the end. So my apologies. We'll be working on that. It's something with my camera not being focused either. So just bear with us, and thank you for supporting our channel though. But I'll get it good next time. So thumbs up. Thanks, guys.